let's get into our games because there were 12 games of NFL football today. 11 it was a lot. We're going to assign a few games to the scrap heap, the early window scrap heap, because we've had a couple of people say that they miss our little game run-through song.
Oh, have we?
So we're just going to go through a couple very quickly, and then we'll get to our games as normal. So let's... Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Hawley bopping along. Doss is into it. Lions at Colts, 24-6. The Lions win it. They're 10-1. The Colts are 5-7. The Lions did it easy, despite Jared Goff not throwing a touchdown. It was Gibbs and Montgomery with 3 rushing touchdowns between them. And boys, Anthony Richardson was back.
Guess who's back? Oh, you should have got that song going.
Familiar form. He threw 11 of 28.
He sucked me in because I didn't have a QB in out in the Div 1 Outback League.
Yeah, I thought you picked him up.
I'll throw Anthony Richardson in. Hopefully he rushes for a bit, gets me 20 points, and he sucked. This was maybe one of his worst games. In his defense, though, he did throw 3 nice completions to Josh Downs, which were all called back for little stupid penalties.
Holding
penalties, an offensive pass interference from a player that wasn't even involved in the catch. So there were a couple of things that could have gone his way, but still.
Well, outside of that, he was 11 of 28. They converted 3 of 12 third downs compared to the Lions, 9 of 15. The Pats and the Dolphins, 34-15. The Dolphins won it. They're 5-6 and still in the hunt. Just the Pats are 3-9. The Dolphins had 31 points on the board before the Pats scored in the fourth quarter with some consolation touchdowns, including that 63-yard fumble return by Christian Gonzalez. But Tua Tagovailoa was at his dominant best, 317 yards, 4 TDs, whilst rookie defensive end Chop Robinson and co were all over Drake May, struggled to get going. Jalen Waddle had the best game of his career. And how's this for synergistic statistics? 144 and a touchdown. That was his best game today. His second best is 143-1. His third best is 142-1.
No.
How good's that?
Is it really?
Uh-huh. By the way, the Pats
crazy,
in the second quarter had -9 yards. Dolphins had 210.
They were really struggling.
Where's Tyreek Hill sit at the moment? He went into the season as the #1 ranked player according to his teammates.
Well, that was the league.
Well, the league, sorry. Not teammates, but, players in the league. And he's had one good game, week 1.
Yeah, I know. It's weird.
Tua's been back
up
for
and
5
down.
weeks.
I know.
We
It hasn't clicked,
seen
does
anything.
it?
No.
The cheater. I'm not going to say anyone declines because I get
Say
that
it, because
wrong.
I've got him in fantasy, so then he'll have
Okay, he's declining.
Perfect.
There you go. I did you a favour in fantasy. Look at that. We're back friends again. Bucks 30,
friends.
Giants 7. The Bucks are 5-6. The Giants 2-9. Tommy DeVito, the New York Giants starting quarterback, in case you've forgotten, got absolutely nailed by Kalijah Kancey on the first possession.
Absolutely drilled him, rattled his teeth.
And I can hardly recall anything else about this game, to be honest, other than Baker Mayfield going on some more Superman runs and Bucky Irving, Hawley's boy, scrimmaging for 151 yards and a TD. It was an easy bounce-back win for the Bucks, who start their little friendly post-bye run with a thumping win.
Bucky looked awesome. Hawley needs more credit for his call on the start of the year because he had him as Hawley's heroes.
Bucky's backfield we had as a little segment in the Daily Show, didn't we?
Yeah, maybe we did.
Bring it back.
That was good. And Baker's touchdown celebration where he ran it in.
Oh, yes.
Doing the Tommy DeVito.
Why
doing
did he do
these
that?
ones.
What has Tommy ever done to Baker?
He's done nothing. He's just to the New York crowd. Just because
I
it's
love
Baker.
Baker's the best. Baker and Jamie Winston.
Mike Evans back too. Looked nice.
Yes.
Deontay Banks could not go with him.
Well, and the Giants... Oh, Deontay Banks. There's
Your
that
boy,
name
I know,
again.
yeah.
And the Giants have slipped from just a calamitous headline machine to just an anonymous whisper now.
Brian
I don't know
Burns
which one's
ripping
better.
them apart after the game.
All right, that's the scrap heap. They're the 3 really ordinary games that we just wanted to get out of the way quickly. Let's get into a game that was far more interesting, and we didn't really expect it. Did I flirt with the idea that this was a banana peel game? I think I asked the question last week, Chiefs and Panthers, and then I dismissed it and said, no, surely they will win
I reckon
this.
you might have said something. Yeah, I think you did. No, I think you did.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
and I think we all agreed.
30-27. It was close. The Chiefs won it in Carolina. Chiefs, of course, 10-1. The Panthers 3-8. But I tell you what, the Panthers and Bryce Young showed some fight. But of course, when it mattered, Patrick Mahomes pulled out a 33-yard run out of nowhere to put them in field goal range. And of course, random undrafted rookie kicker Spencer Schrader duly converts from 31 yards to win it. But the Kansas City shakes continue, even though Mahomes played one of his better games for the year with 3 touchdowns. But this time, it was the defense struggling. Doss giving up 334 yards to the Panthers, and Young having his second most productive game of his career.
2 weeks in a row now that the Chiefs' defense has struggled, Kurt. They struggled against Buffalo last week. Front 4, not getting enough pressure. The pass rush has declined, and if you can contain Chris Jones, which the Bills did last week and Carolina did today, then that is freeing up or allowing either Bryce Young or Josh Allen time in the pocket, as we saw today, to make throws because the Chiefs secondary, obviously L'Jarius Sneed went out to Tennessee, Watson's injured as well, is a little exposed. And you've got Nazir Johnson, who's hasn't been good the last couple of weeks, and Chamari Connor, who
your boy
has made big plays this year, but ball hawks a lot and has been burnt in coverage quite a few times, and he got exposed.
Not quite Cam Taylor-Britt levels, but
no, not quite that bad. But yeah, just Mahomes again. Chiefs escape with just game-winning drive brilliance. 3rd and 2, he finds Hopkins for 7 yards. Then the very next play was the scramble for 33 yards, and that's what Mahomes does. Then 2nd and 11, 29 seconds left at the Carolina 22. He finds Kareem Hunt for 10 yards. So instead of a 43-yard attempt for a game-winning field goal with basically a second starter kicker, it's a 31 field goal attempt. And it's the Chiefs' 5th game-winning walk-off field goal this season.
That said, a 31-yarder is not a given.
It's not, but it's better than 43.
It is, yeah. We'll get
What's
some more
an extra
kickaways
point
later.
these days?
What is the exact yardage on an extra point? 27 yards, is it?
Something like that.
Yep.
Can you look that up, Dos? I always forget what the exact distance is now that they've been pushed back. But Hawley, we'll talk about Bryce Young because he has shown a bit in this last 5-week block. Are you getting excited as a fantasy owner?
I am a little bit more excited about him. Since he's had his little break, he has looked a little bit nicer, a little bit better. Today, they put up 27 points against the Chiefs, which we mentioned is the second most the Chiefs have allowed all year. It's a good sign because you still go through this offense, and we're talking about Adam Thielen, who's old. Xavier Legette, it's his rookie season. I mean, David Moore, who like there are guys there that Tommy Tremble's you tied in.
He took a great touchdown catch, Moore, by the way.
I mean, they did just sign Chuba Hubbard to a big 4-year deal, but you've got Jonathan Brooks, who's supposed to be quite a good running back, had his first game today, so give him the rest of the season. They hopefully either protect Bryce in the draft or draft a playmaker on offense for him and roll with him. Give him the whole year. Don't just do this kind of thing, build around him, and then just, halfway through the year, give up again.
Has he shown enough yet to roll with him for another year, or does he need more in this last 6
if
weeks?
the season finished today, if this was the last game of the year, they would look at the last 3 or 4 weeks and think, all right, we'll give it one more.
Do you think so, Dos? Do you reckon they'd roll with him if the season ended today?
I don't think there's any point in giving up after 2 years.
Bryce Young?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They go again.
Today was his best game of his season so far.
He was good. He was good.
The unfortunate thing for Bryce Young today and the Panthers, they just couldn't convert in the red zone, right?
I guess that'll come.
The
with
defense
time.
still allowed 30 points. The defense allows 3 TDs.
Well, yeah.
20 points and they win.
It's one of the worst defenses in the league, but they only went at 25% on 3rd down conversion on offense as well. So you're not going to win too many games doing that. But under pressure, I thought he threw the ball very well. Adam Thielen made a big catch. Xavier Legette made a big catch too. I know you'll probably mention Sanders as well.
Yeah, I was just going to say, bit of tight end news. Jatavian Sanders, it was a horrible incident. He got sort of upended and landed.
Yeah, he sort of got
could not have
propelled
been
up
more
by the-
vertical, the way that he landed just down on his head, and it compressed what looked like his neck and spine. He's been released from hospital, so good sign. Don't know when he'll play again, but hopefully soon. It just looked very concerning when it happened. The other tight end nugget to come out of this one is Noah Gray.
yeah.
2 touchdowns, and he had two touchdowns last week. So that's 4 in 2 weeks, and before this last fortnight, he only had 4 for his career. So maybe there's a changing of the guard.
Sort of JD McKinnon type vibes back end of the season for a Chiefs, where Mahomes just all of a sudden finds a random player to start throwing touchdowns to.
Yeah, true. I like that. That's very Mahomesy. All right, that's the win from the Chiefs. They're not humming despite their record. Still, similar story. The Vikings at the Bears. What a finish this one was. 30-27. The Vikes win it. They're 9-2, boys. The Bears are 4-7.
This game was dead to rights.
I
went to go and get ready for work.
Yep.
And it was the Vikings 27-16 lead with 22 seconds left.
Well, let me run you through it, because
how has this gone to overtime?
I don't know how to really unpack this. They've lost 5 in a row, the Bears, but they were down, like you say, by 13 points with less than 2 minutes to go. Then Caleb Williams produces again. He does in a 2-minute drill. He's done that a couple of times now. This time to Keenan Allen for a touchdown. There was some synergy there today. And then the Bears recover the onside kick.
Well, they got the 2-point conversion.
They did get, yes, that's a very important point. They got the 2-point, and then they recovered the onside kick because it came off the leg of a Vikings player. So they didn't go the 10 yards, but it came off the leg of a Vikings player, so they
which means
were
it's
able to do it.
Fair game. Yep.
So then Santos converts, that's Cairo Santos, converts a field goal to send it to overtime, only for the Bears to sputter and John Parker Romo to kick the winning field goal for the Vikes to seal it in OT and seal the Bears' fate at 4-7. There were a few players with big games in this one. Williams had 340 yards and 2 TDs. Darnold 330 and 2. And then DJ Moore went for 100 plus and 1. Allen 86 and 1. Aaron Jones 129 and touchdown on scrimmage. Jordan Addison had his biggest game of his career, 162 and 1. He started to come on a bit. And TJ Hawkinson went over 100 yards for the first time since his ACL return. But how do we unpack this one? Because the Bears seem to get themselves in these situations and almost take games and then find a way to lose it.
So Matt Eberflus now, record in one possession games is 5-18 as a head coach.
Man.
So that's where the frustration is with Bears fans.
That's like the opposite of Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah. Yeah, good call. That's why everyone loves Kevin O'Connell.
How many of those 5-18 are this year? He's probably got 5 or 6.
They've lost 7, so probably 7.
7, yeah.
That's a good question. I have to have a look. But their defense in overtime, I don't know what happened, but they went real soft coverage. Addison was open. Hawkinson was open. They had Vikings receivers open all over the place. Sam Darnold in the fourth quarter in overtime went 11-13, 166 yards, no turnover-worthy plays, and 2 big-time throws. Just efficient. Because he could just find open receivers that were well open. Like there was no close coverage. So I don't know what went on there with the defense in overtime for the Bears.
Are you calling for another defensive coordinator to lose his job? They've gotten rid of Waldron, the OC. DC, go?
No, because Matt Eberflus calls the...
Ooh, you want the flus out?
Well, they still haven't fired a coach in season before the Chicago Bears.
Never?
So, never.
Wow.
No, not a head coach.
Okay.
So we'll see. Jonathan Grenard, our boy, big sack in overtime on second down. That pushed him back 12 yards, which led to the Bears going 3 and out in that overtime drive there.
Hawley, have you been more convinced by Caleb Williams of late? I know you're not a fan of his personally, but professionally?
Professionally. Personally, still not a fan. But yeah, I mean, we've been harsh on him, but we still have to remember that he is a rookie quarterback in the NFL. He's not an experienced NFL quarterback. He has been given all of these weapons. The problem we faced is that he walked in texting punters, you won't have to punt much this year, or all that kind of stuff. So the expectations that he brought upon himself and the franchise were that we're going to be really successful. And he's having a rookie season.
Yep.
And so we're viewing a rookie season, a standard rookie season, as a big failure at the moment, which isn't fair. But at the same time, I think he brought a lot of it upon himself. So he'll be a good quarterback. He's shown games like this, like 340 and 2 TDs. His 2-minute drills are really good. Maybe it's something they can look at and playing more of a hurry-up offense more often. Maybe not giving him the time to have to think about plays. He can just go out there and play football works for him. But yeah, I don't think we're going to see a problem with him for the next decade in the NFL.
What you didn't mention, Kurt, as well, just on Caleb Williams in that moment when they got the onside kick, he made the 27-yard throw to DJ Moore, which helped to set up the field goal. Then they ran up, spiked the ball because that was all the time they had left.
They did. Every time I see a quarterback spike a ball successfully, I just think of Dak Prescott. That goes through my head every single time. I mean, wait, are you saying they didn't get it off in time, or they did?
No, they got it off in time. That's what set up the field goal. But Santos would have been nervous. Had another blocked field goal.
Well, he did. That's right. The first one of the day.
Just low trajectory with his kicks.
We're having a bad kicker year, aren't we?
Well, that's a perfect segue because
only if you're kicking under 50 yards. Yes, anything over 50 yards, your records.
Well, here we go. The Texans and the Titans. Right, the Titans won it in Houston. 32-27. They're 3-8. The Texans 7-5. And all has not been well in the last 6 weeks for Houston. And today was their lowest point of the year, despite their Jets loss. What did I miss, boys?
No.
I'm just saying. I said that. The Texans,
you did say that. Yes.
Texans were shit.
It was an inexcusable loss to the 2-win divisional rival. Nah, I can't be bothered. Titans. And the way they did it was even worse, as we alluded to. They gave up a 70-yard touchdown in the fourth quarter to Chig Okonkwo before the normally reliable Kaimi Chig. That's what they call him.
He has a 70-yard TD.
I know.
Of all players.
Big Chig. Before normally reliable Kaimi Fairbairn missed a 28-yard field goal to tie it up late.
Chip shot.
Ironically and cruelly, it was in the game where he sets the record for the most 50-plus yard field goals made in a season.
14, was it?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, that's cruel.
It happens, though. It's same as AFL. You would have seen it where guys are 20, 25 metres out and they kind of stab at it. your 50-55 out, you kick through it, you kick truly, and it generally is a nicer kick. And
I wouldn't know. I've never been able to kick more than 30.
maybe that's what, that's probably similar to these NFL kickers.
Well, when Will Levis got sacked 8 times.
Oh.
7 times in the first half. O-line improved in the second half, marginally.
What do you reckon they're going to be drafting for him next year?
Yeah, not sure.
Not a quarterback anymore, Kurt, after yesterday's episode.
That's right, and he hit a couple of targets.
I thought he played pretty well.
He did play pretty
outside
well.
of that bad interception to
Yeah.
Jimmy Ward, which was a pick 6. Last week as well, he looked like since he'd come back in after he got benched for Mason Rudolph, I thought he just got out of that
Injured.
out of his game. Well, okay, injury. So that looked a little ordinary. But outside of that, I thought he played pretty well considering the lack of protection he had on the O-line today. And Nick Westbrook-Akine, is this an MVS 2.0?
I was just going to say MVS.
Is it something about the hyphens that Westbrook-Akine just popping up for big plays?
Yeah.
He did last week.
Sean Murphy-Bunting should have been a wide receiver. It'd be very productive. Oh, yeah, he has been. He's just been popping up at the right time. But look, that's a shocker for the Texans. We suspected, like you said, Hawley brought it up last week that they're not flying, and this is now a real worry. Even if they make playoffs, this is not a team in form. This is not a team that will do damage. And CJ Stroud's lost some magic. It's hard to quantify, but he's overthrowing. He's missing. No?
I don't think he's lost magic. I think teams are just caught up. Like last year, he caught them by surprise. No one expected Houston to be any good. We're seeing it now a little bit with Washington. No one expected Washington to be successful this year. Jaden's come out, and all of a sudden, wow, this guy's a really good quarterback. He's playing well. Now teams are reviewing the tape. They're paying attention to Jaden Daniels. They're paying attention to CJ Stroud. Hey, this is where he likes to throw it. Let's make sure he can't throw it there. And they're stopping it. They're making him throw to spots he doesn't want to throw to, making him make plays he's not comfortable with, and it's not working. So now CJ has to work out how to overcome that, as every good quarterback in the league has had to do. So
Texans,
we'll see how it works.
Texans 3 losses in their last 4 games now. You mentioned those 2 interceptions. So Stroud's had 5 in the last 3 games. He only had 5 all of last season. I remember that. Both teams, though, today, mistakes all over the place. Houston are now 5th most penalties this season. They had another 11 today. Offensive line continues to struggle as well. And Stroud, probably the 2 most, there's some key stats here just on his rookie season to his 2024 season. Sacks per game is up by 1, 2.5 to about 3.5. His yards per game is down about 40 yards per game. His yards per attempt is down about 8.2 to 7.3. And his passer rating was 100.8 last year. It is currently sitting at 87.3, and his completion percentage is down about 2.5.
He has sat without. He has been playing without his couple of top receivers for a fair chunk of the season, though.
Yeah, Nico Collins was out for a decent amount of time, and then Stephon Diggs as well. But still, the offensive line is a big issue there. And unless Joe Mixon seems to go off in games,
I'll defend him quickly, because if you take Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown, maybe not AJ Brown, they've got backups. So if you take any of those guys out of your team, Jamar Chase, the quarterback generally drops off a little bit. So the next probably 6 weeks, if CJ's got a full strength Nico Collins and Tank Dell, then maybe we'll make a judgment after that.
All right, we're going to take a quick break and do some DOS's trivia. Then we'll get back into all of the remaining games.
Just apologise, Don Ayres, for kicking your foot. Actually, no, I'm not sorry. Stuff you.
We all right, Chris?
We're fine.
Now, I'm saying this because I don't know whether or not our earlier segment's gone to air or not, because it did go very long. It went very long, and I'm not sure it was as funny as I initially intended it to be. Dos,
I was serious. I was trying to take you down and paint you in a very
You might have to shorten it. It did go for a while.
Did it work as a segment? We're opening up the curtain here.
It's a bit hard.
They may not know what we're talking about if I cut it out completely.
Well, they may not know this either. You'll probably cut this out.
No, I like to leave these little nuggets in because then people think,
maybe we could make the segment into a daily show. The 3 of us could do our own little daily show of 20 minutes, and that's
I've already got it there. I can just cut it.
You could just cut it out.
All right, that's too much.
It'll almost be. I mean, it happened a long time ago now.
We should probably just let it go, right?
Could let it go, and we'll just always remember that you're a dirty dog.
He's just reopened it.
And if that's all you need to listeners, is all you need to know is that Kurt is deceitful, he's a liar, and he's a dirty, dirty dog.
That sounded like a compliment, that last bit.
Where's my trivia music?
Oh, yeah.
Hurry up.
All right, here we
come
go.
on.
Come on.
Get
You got
bored.
one job, Kurt.
Many jobs.
I know you got me. I just like to say you got one.
Because you know it annoys me every
Yeah,
time you say
it does.
All right, let's go.
Grind
Dos.
your
Dos
gears.
is
Well, you got
trivia.
the phone set up this week, so we'll have YouTube.
Yes.
Fantastic. Now,
If I edit it.
oh, yeah.
Recording's one thing, Dos.
Oh, okay. Highest. Who are the 10 receivers that have got the highest rush yards per game over the last 10 seasons, including this current season,
Wait,
Whoa. My head's hurting already.
The receivers with the highest rush yards.
per game?
Tyreek Hill.
Rush yards, Kurt. Hawley.
You said receivers.
rush yards.
You said receivers
No.
with the highest rush yards.
Highest rush yards per game over the last 10 seasons, including the current season.
You need to review
Debo
this.
Samuel.
No, they're not receivers.
You said the receivers with the highest rush yards.
All right, let's start this again.
Go. All right. And
Don't edit that
go.
out. Don't edit it out. Like, so Dos has made one mistake this year. It needs to be.
Okay. Running backs,
Yep.
highest rush yards per game
Devon Achan.
over the last 10 seasons, including the current season, but they have to have played at least 25 games.
Devon Achani has not played 25 games.
Correct.
Okay. And so this is like their entire span over that time. It's not per season, right?
Correct. Average over
So
that 10
the
seasons.
king,
Derrick Henry, yep.
Derek's there.
Surely, Dos.
Yes, he's second
Jeez,
with
sorry.
82.2 yards.
If we can't get Derek right, we'll get none.
When Dos looked
Yeah.
at it,
You got Henry. Yes, he's second.
Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, Saquon
Surely
is fifth.
off the back of today.
I think
Christian McCaffrey.
Jonathan Taylor and Christian McCaffrey.
So JT is first. Jonathan Taylor with
Wow.
85 yards per game.
McCaffrey.
McCaffrey is not on this list.
He's a good
Really?
receiver. That's interesting. Which proves that the.
I suppose he bulks his numbers up with a lot of catches.
Yeah,
So
he
you've got
does.
1, 2, and 5.
And how many? You want 10?
10.
I need 10.
Okay.
Oh, Rashad Penny?
No.
You can see why I guessed that though, right? Because he played about 6 games and they all went for 150 yards.
Would Raheem Mostert be up there? Nah, just one good
Because he had a lot of games where he didn't do much at
Yeah.
all.
All right, so we can talk some big names like a Kamara,
Joe Mixon. Oh boy.
Nope.
Marshawn Lynch,
No.
Going back 10 years, right? Okay. How many?
Le'Veon Bell.
No.
That's a good guess.
That was a really good guess. It wouldn't be anyone. Robinson wouldn't be there. Brees Hall would not be in there.
Okay, Dos, we're going to need a little hint here. We've a shaky start.
So one guy
That's
had a
fantasy
good.
team. Hold on.
One guy had a good game today. Had 3 touchdowns as well.
Oh, Josh Jacobs.
Yep.
Okay.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
thought he had
77 yards per game, Christopher. Come on, man.
Oh wait, yards per game. I was going with
Rushing yards per
per
game.
carry.
No, yards per game.
Oh, you just reminded me of someone. Nick Chubb.
Yes, he's third.
Okay.
How many left?
1, 2, 3. You got 5 left.
All right. So Eckler wouldn't be there because he's a receiver. Kamara's more receiver.
You've got the top 5.
Oh, okay. What are the rest of the 5? Are they still current or?
Only. Oh, 3 of them are. 3 of them are on rosters, and 2 of them are retired.
Where would AP's too far gone, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
How long ago?
James
did that-
Cook.
Oh, but
No.
What? Dalvin.
Dalvin.
Yeah,
There you go.
there we go. And I mean, this guy's declined a lot recently, but did he do enough early, Zeke?
Yeah.
Oh,
Zeke's
okay,
in there.
sweet.
Zeke
Okay.
went hard
Zeke
early.
at 69.9.
Okay, so that's what you meant when they're sort of current still, as in they're.
Yeah, that's why I said they're
Yeah.
on rosters.
What about
Right.
the last current guy? Is he still playing to a decent
Yeah.
level?
Oh, yeah. He's very
yeah?
good.
So we're missing out on a big name.
Second year player.
Oh, second year player.
Oh, Gibbs.
Jameer Gibbs.
Nice.
He would have only just ticked over 25 games.
Yeah,
Then.
26. I did this last week with 25 games, so
Yeah.
he'd be in there.
So
Very
now we're
good.
looking for the 2 retirees.
2 retired boys.
Yeah.
Did they retire like the last couple of years, or are we talking like early on?
a
7
little
or 8
while
years
ago now.
Give us the divisions then.
Both in the NFC West.
Both in the NFC West. This is tough, Dos.
Just give us a team.
All right, one's a Rams.
Oh, he's a Jet and he retired early.
He did.
What's his name? You know him. He's a Jet. Todd Gurley.
Todd Gurley, correct.
When you said he was a Jet, I thought New York Jets.
No, he's just a Jet.
Gurley's a good one. Okay, last one. Last one. What's the other team?
Seattle.
Seattle Seahawks.
And he's just retired. It's not Marshawn Lynch.
2021 he retired.
Oh, Chris Carson.
Chris Carson.
Yes.
Well done. Seahawks fans
the neck.
screaming.
Yeah, the neck.
The neck. He
Yeah.
was quite good as well.
He was.
Yeah, well, he was sixth on this list.
He was very good.
71.5 rush yards per game. So from the top, Jonathan Taylor, Derek Henry, Nick Chubb, Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, Chris Carson, Jameer Gibbs, Zeke Elliott, Dalvin Cook, and Todd Gurley.
Like it, Dust. That was a good one, apart from the early confusion.
Oh, sorry about that.
We all make
Wasn't your
mistakes.
fault.
Yeah, we all make mistakes.
That's his first in the history of the pod, so we'll let him off. All right, next batch of games, and this was a good one too. Goodness me, the Cowboys, what an upset! Defeated the Commanders in Washington, 34-26. The Cowboys are 4-7. The Commanders 7-5. They've lost 3 in a row. Now let's just let all this sink in. The Commanders were at home. They had a better record. They had their starting quarterback. They had more passing yards, more rushing yards, more yards per play, better fourth down efficiency, more total plays. The Cowboys had Cooper Rush at quarterback. Rico Dowdle at running back. They missed a field goal. They had a field goal blocked. They had a punt blocked. They lost a fumble, and they still won. At three-quarter time, it was 10-9 Dallas. Then there were 41 points, 5 TDs in the final quarter, and it seemed iced when Kevontae Turpin of the Cowboys muffed a kick, picked it up, put in a dazzling spin move, and ran for a 99-yard touchdown. 10-point lead, but then a Washington field goal, and then an 86-yard Terry McLaurin touchdown. He'd done nothing all day, Doss, with 26 seconds to go.
Done nothing.
As per usual.
All they needed was an Austin
This guy over
Seibert
here.
extra point. And he missed his second extra point of the day. This one was a low snap. And amazingly, it finished with another Dallas kick return for a touchdown. Boys, can we how do we unpack this? I don't know where to start.
Cyber, it was really nice. There's a photo of him holding his daughter. So it's nice that his family were there to witness his final game of football.
He's had a good season up until today.
Well, I think he just came back today, didn't he?
How did they know?
How
did they know, Chris?
I'm not sure, but it's lovely that they could at least be there for it. So that's good.
That's joke
good.
of the week.
That's
Well
good for
done.
him.
Don't need to do it on Wednesday.
Moving on. Hey, Cooper Rush played well, guys.
He did.
And he said that last week this goes back to my development league. He said that last week he was rusty, couldn't quite get his feet settled, couldn't quite get in the moment, couldn't quite find the pace of the game again. And now this week he felt a lot better because of it.
I just imagine you going into Roger's office and saying, Roger, I know you've been skeptical about this development league, but we could have had this version of Cooper Rush a week earlier. Now put up the funds for it.
We could have. It's a genuine
Compelling argument.
Cooper was good. I mean, nothing else from Dallas was, like you just said, they lost.
Special teams.
They should have lost.
They lost.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Jaden should never have won. Like, they were out. Like, I just didn't feel like he played. I was halfway through the third quarter. I was ready to double down on my take that he's gone backwards and he's really struggling. It was all make-believe. And then all of a sudden he goes bang, bang, bang. I was like, oh, well, okay. He pulled through when he needed to.
And we weren't trying to be disrespectful to Dallas. I mean, they earned the win. When we say they should have lost, it was just an extraordinary ending. And it was just a flurry of confusion, really, Doss, with all of those scores and these improbable happenings. I mean,
Feel sorry for the underbetters.
Yeah, first game in NFL history.
Loving it at
Three-quarter time, they'd cash their checks.
Not even three-quarter, like 6 minutes. There was 5 touchdowns in the last 6 minutes of the game.
You turn it off and you'd start putting your next bet on, wouldn't you?
So how do you unpack this for the Commanders, Doss? I mean, what is it? Where are they at?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Washington couldn't punish the mistakes. You mentioned, and I texted you boys during, I think it was the end of the first half. Cowboys' first half drives.
That one message you sent.
Block field goal, missed field goal, fumble turnover, punt, and then the made field goal. So, look, credit to Mike Zimmer and the Cowboys' defense. They came in as the second worst defense in the league, allowing 29 points per game. But obviously they were terrible, on the run, and they've just been bad all season. And they held the Washington offense. And we spoke on the TNF review after Washington lost to Philly, and that Washington looked very predictable with how they, on offense, with what they were doing, tight end screens, running the ball. And today, and this was the criticism of Cliff Kingsbury in Arizona, that the second half of the season was very predictable. So teams knew what the offense was going to be, and then that drop-off occurred in Arizona with Cliff, and now Washington have lost 3 in a row.
It's the Kingsbury curse.
And have looked stale on offense, in the last couple of weeks outside of the McLaurin, big play today. There wasn't much else going on for him.
That drop-off happened to Kingsbury at the Cardinals. It happened in college.
Yep.
It's happened everywhere. And now it's happening again, Dos.
Yeah.
It's a genuine curse.
Washington special teams just cost them today. Well, they give up 2 kickoff returns for a touchdown. They had the 2 missed point attempts. That's just bad. It's not bad. Like, it's just poor execution on special teams. And it's an area of the game that they have to be better in. This is a game... they were 10.5-point favourites.
Yeah.
So this is the largest underdog win of the season if you want to look at it by spread. So...
And I have my agreement on my deal with listener Dan Raybold, Washington fan. Remember, if Washington finally get a winning season, I'll stop saying Dan Snyder's name on the pod. And at 7-2, I was thinking I got to get all my Snyder mentions out because I won't be able to say it. They're 7-5.
Titans and Saints. But then they've got the Eagles, Falcons, Cowboys. You'd expect to probably go 3-2 there, worst case.
They had Washington had no excuses. They had the 10-day break off TNF, and the Cowboys played Monday night and have gone on the road. Like, you got to win this game.
You got to win this game.
Washington fans would be spewing.
You know what, fellas? Dallas aren't that far behind Washington now. They're 3 wins behind, but they've got a game in hand. They win that, they're 5-7. Washington is 7-5. Dallas got a little streak.
Oh my god!
Washington just fall off that little bit. All of a sudden, Cooper Rush is leading the Dallas Cowboys to a little
Super Bowl
wild card spot.
You've just sent a shiver down the spine of every Commanders fan listening. Let's revisit that in a couple of weeks if it ever becomes relevant. The 49ers and the Packers. The Packers got it done easy, 38-10. The Niners are 5-6. The Packers are 8-3, and they were never really in at San Francisco, having to start backup quarterback Brandon Allen with Purdy out injured. It was Josh Jacobs, Dos, as you mentioned, who started with 3 touchdowns on the ground for the Packers, while Xavier McKinney made his 7th interception of the season to equal Kirby Joseph from Detroit on the top of the leaderboard. And it's probably safe to say now, well, not safe, but it's getting harder and harder for the 49ers to make playoffs, right, in this NFC West.
I think Seattle saved them. If Arizona knocks Seattle off, then like we mentioned last week, Arizona go 2 games clear on top. But because Seattle beat Arizona, it keeps the NFC West still within arm's reach of everybody there. But like San Fran, when they walk into this game with no Brock Purdy, no Bosa,
no Trent Williams,
they're not winning. I don't think anyone ever thought they were a chance without those guys. So they need them. We said that last week. We said if they've got a fully fit squad together and they can get rolling towards the back end of the season, then they're a scary team. But they're just not fit, and that's what happens in professional sport. If you don't have a fit list, you can't win games.
And if your good players that are there aren't playing well, like Deebo Samuel, drop passes today. And I called for him to lift last week on the pod, and it just didn't happen. So he didn't have a good game. 49ers defense.
Did you DM him or not? Did you send him?
Did you?
You forget?
Oh, he should have.
One job.
He should be listening.
He was too busy clearing the phone storage.
The phones. McCaffrey, he's coming back.
I like how I do
Achilles.
something and then you use that as an argument to say I do nothing. How does that work? That's reverse logic.
Just work harder, Kurt.
Yeah, just work harder. Yeah, but McCaffrey doesn't look right still. He doesn't have that explosiveness that he had last season, obviously coming off the 2 Achilles tendonitis.
You're a big one for resting blokes when it's not worth playing anymore. You talked about CeeDee Lamb, just putting him on ice. At what stage do you put McCaffrey back on ice? If you do it.
When they can no longer mathematically make the playoffs.
Just pull him?
Yeah, when they can't make the playoff. If they can't make the playoffs.
I'd probably agree with that.
I wouldn't be.
Because running backs, their lifespan is short. It's how many touches. There's no point in handing him another 100 touches to end the season if it means it's going to cost him, the back end of a season.
But only when they mathematically can't make it. Yeah. Now, 49ers defense, 20 missed tackles today.
Is that a lot?
That is a lot. Yeah, that is a lot.
Yeah, a player has a player has 2 and PFF has him as like a 44 grade. So yeah, that's with some low rankings there.
And Jordan Love threw 2 very gettable passes that probably should have been intercepted today. But he also threw some very good ones that were dropped as well. Christian Watson, namely, for that 49-yarder that should have been a walk-in touchdown right before halftime, which would have made it 24-7. But essentially, the Packers were able to run all over them, do what they want. No Nick Bosa on the opposite side certainly helps that. And the 49ers, Kurt, allowing Josh Jacobs to have 100 yards rushing, First
don't think
time
they
in
meant to.
first time in 55 games that they've allowed a 100-yard rusher to
Really?
the opposition. Yeah,
Wowzers.
which was the longest streak.
It's all falling apart. What's Fred Warner doing back there, Dos?
He's not getting a lot of help.
Are you back? Are you back on the train now? Green Bay train? You're happy to talk about them again, or
Well, I'm happy to talk about them, but this is I'm almost
jump back on the bandwagon?
I have to keep in perspective that this is not a Packers pod, so we can't dedicate a whole
Sounds
episode
like he's
to
back
them.
on the bandwagon, Kurt.
We'll
Oh,
be
yeah.
wearing the shirt next week.
I'm at the front. I get the
Surprised you didn't
jersey
have it
out
today.
next week. It's too hot now. Is the aircon on in here?
We turned it off. It was a bit. Oh, it's back on.
No,
is
it's
it?
been on the whole time. It's just it warms up with
Yeah, it is a bit
heat
warm.
generated in this room.
It's the airflow on the Muscle Cat Media t-shirt. I'm cool. It's a lovely t-shirt.
Yeah, dry fit, is it?
Dry fit.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Moisture wicking technology.
Yes, that's exactly
Now,
right.
mathematically, we mentioned mathematical chances of playoffs. To my dismay, no teams have been officially eliminated yet, Dos. I like it. I like just categorizing teams as officially out so we can stop worrying about them. But they're all-
Thanksgiving. Yeah, we don't have to talk about them on the pod once
Yeah,
they're
that's
officially
right,
out.
That's right. Yeah, just take note, fans. If your team gets eliminated, don't expect much pop from us. We've got enough on our hands. Cardinals and Seahawks. This is that NFC West crucial matchup. The Seahawks won at 16-6. Both teams are 6-5. The game didn't reach great heights, boys, and I wasn't going to put it on the scrap heap because it's so important, but especially for the Cardinals, they were not great. It was a consequential result, and the Seahawks now take over the lead of the division. Kyler Murray threw a pick 6 to Kobe Bryant. The commentators were just waiting to use Black Mamba puns. The Black Mamba mentality, they said. He snaked a pick 6, whatever that means. I mean, you've just got a line written down ready to go. Okay, this guy's called Kobe Bryant. I'm going to use a Kobe Bryant reference. Brilliant. JSN, he scored the only touchdown of the game as Leonard Williams was a wrecking ball for Seattle with 2.5 sacks. And Trey McBride, Hawley, your boy, even in a loss, went for 133 yards. Dos, do we worry about Kyler and Co now, or is this just a little blip on their way to playoffs?
Well, they have to get to the playoffs now. We almost did. We lock them last week?
No, we didn't. We haven't locked anyone in the NFC.
We're going to do a
West.
lock against
We
soon.
just
That's
said
week
that.
17.
We just said that we thought Arizona would beat Seattle, didn't we? I think we all agreed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, and remember what we said when we all agree.
You did say that. Yeah.
Defensive masterclass by the Seahawks and Mike McDonald. And it's largely been the last couple of weeks. They've tipped out both starting linebackers. They traded Jerome Baker to the Titans, who didn't have a good game today. And they cut Tyrell Dodson. So since they've done that, they've only allowed
Not T-Dod.
Yeah, they've only allowed 23 points in the last 2 games. The previous span before that, weeks 4 to 9, remember after they had that 3-game winning streak at the start of the season, they were 4th worst. They're allowing nearly 30 points per game.
Wow.
So they've just made that
McDonald
adjustment at the
ship shape.
linebacker position,
Yes.
Kurt.
Wow.
And all things are firing Seattle. And even Skip sent me a text saying it's amazing to get excited on defense when you actually have some structure there and things are going well. So
I'm
they
glad
look
you
much
mentioned
better.
Skip, by the way, because we've just put the Muscle Cat Media sign up on the door. So you can see that on YouTube. And this will be on YouTube. We're putting it back on YouTube. It's exciting. JB on Insta, you can rest assured it's up.
Neither team's run game did anything today, though.
Straight back to it.
Arizona.
Yeah, sorry.
Arizona, James Conner,
Yeah.
7 carries, 8 yards.
Trey Benson.
Wow.
Trey Benson will be the man.
14
What did
carries
Benson have?
for
4 for 18, but he will take over.
4 for 18.
No, I'm
4
saying
for
it-
18, that was Australia's score overnight, wasn't it?
Oh, mate. Can we talk about that for a little while?
Oh,
No
yeah,
point.
go on. Have a 30-second rant
I
about
don't even
Australian
want to.
cricket.
It's just pathetic. Like,
pathetic.
How pathetic are Mitchell
Pathetic.
Stark rolling in like, don't forget I bowl faster than you. Then they're none for 200, Starky. Far out, man. Like, show a bit of ticker. And then they
Marnus, 2 off 52 with the first dig.
Cummins laughing,
Bat in
Stark
time.
laughing when they're none for 150. Did you ever see McGrath laugh when they were getting spanked? Well, they never got spanked. Did Warney laugh? Jason Gillespie, Brett Lee, did any of them laugh when they were getting hit for 4?
Never.
Nah.
Do
Time to change.
we laugh when we make errors?
I don't make errors.
Yeah, that's right. Bloody right. You're the Glenn McGrath of the
The
pod.
only mistake I've ever made is thinking I made a mistake. Realizing it was not a mistake.
Oh, wow. We could unpack that for a while. All right, let's back to the football.
Yeah, Dad used to say.
Oh, any cricket thoughts, Dos?
Well, no.
You going to the test match, Dos?
Yeah, we'll be going.
Spare ticket?
Yeah. No, I got my ticket.
Using it every day?
Can we razz it off? More income?
No, you're not allowed to, mate. But we could do a secret.
Oh, because it's members
we
ticket.
could,
my
do
members
we could
ticket.
do a Raz that doesn't involve the ticket.
No.
Oink.
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 No illegal activity on the pod. That's rule 1.
That's not illegal. To Raz something off. I suppose it is because you can't use it.
Okay, let's leave that
Anyway.
idea on the scrap heap. Cardinals, Seahawks. Any more there, Dos? I think we've covered that, haven't we?
Cards defense was good. Only allowed 10 points.
Well, they were. Yeah, it's just that Seattle were able to execute on third down, 7-14. Cardinals 3-12.
Trey does this, by the way.
Kyler's red zone trips, no good.
Trey does what?
In these tough, crappy games, Trey seems to have big games.
Does he? So he's the opposite of a downhill skier.
I think he's Kyler's go-to when things go tough.
There you go. That's good for you.
Yeah.
Got him in 6 fantasy teams. The Broncos and the Raiders.
Just no good players, unlike you.
It's unnecessary. Broncos 29, Raiders 19. Broncos are 7-5. Raiders are 2-9. Bo Nix continued his strong form, boys. 273 yards, 2 touchdowns. Both to Cortland Sutton, your boy, Hawley. Claim him this week?
My boy, Cortland.
Yeah, he's claiming him these days. Denver make it 2 in a row. They keep their
claimed him.
wild card buffer
You should.
at 2 games over the Dolphins and Colts. Their playoff probability, DOS, is currently 75%. Could they finally be back in playoffs after 8 long seasons in the second longest playoff drought? Kurt Trivia, who's the longest?
Playoff drought?
Yep. Insipid franchise. Constant drama.
Kansas City, no.
Kansas City. Raiders, isn't it?
No.
Oh, it's Carol.
Who do we talk about all the time? Because they're a constant headline.
Haven't made
Team.
the playoffs.
Yeah, for 13 years.
Washington.
Oh, boys.
No, Washington were 2020. What are you talking about?
What team do we constantly slag off, constantly do pods about? They're
Jets.
caught up. Yes. New York Jets, 13 years. 13 years. That's a long time. Anyway.
I think it was Miami up until last season.
It was. And then the Lions had the longest playoff win drought. They were 34 years, I think. But DOS, Broncos, they're going to make playoffs now, right?
They will in the AFC. Yes.
Sweet.
Yep.
Next
no,
game?
they will. No, they're looking good. Bo Nix, 5 games, 2 touchdowns, 200 pass yards with no turnovers now. Oh, leading.
Wow.
Yeah. And trash talking.
Rookie of the year numbers.
Trash talking Tyree Wilson from the Raiders. Just a little bit of yap as well.
Because Tyree had his first sack for the year. And that's about all. I saw a Raiders fan 2 weeks ago put a video up saying Tyree Wilson is balling out for the Raiders. Hadn't had a sack. He had 4.5 sacks in a year and a half in the league. So they're just gripping onto anything.
Where do the Raiders go? Because Gardner injured?
Out for the season. Broken collarbone.
The Raiders just roll with Desmond Ritter and hope for an early draft.
Well, I think if they use their punter, AJ Cole, he seems to be able to throw the ball all right.
Better than anyone else in the team.
Could you go a game of just trick plays? just rotate. You know,
just
have like
wildcat
8 or 9 quarterbacks.
Well, the Broncos had to do that with KJ Hamler, wasn't it?
That's right.
Kendall Hinton. When,
Get Taysom Hill in, pay him $40 million
Lindsay.
for the rest of the year.
When they all got COVID. And then they got blasted in the press for all like being within the contagious zone of each other. Spammy.
They got nothing to lose.
The Broncos sweep the Raiders. First time in a season since 2014. And
Craig will be happy.
7-game losing streak for the Raiders. That's their longest single season since 2014. Denver defense again, though, fellas, showing up. You know, Nick Bonito, you spoke about him, Kurt, features in your sacks numbers. Sack numbers. He's right up there now. Stat Watch. That's the one I was looking for on your daily show. Cody Barton, again,
your boy.
Jonathan Cooper. Riley Moss, though, left the game. MCL sprain. So I'm a bit concerned at first half. A bit concerned about that. But they're able to shut down. The Raiders season is completely cooked now. They got backups at corner. They got backups at running back. They're down to a 3rd or 4th string quarterback now.
They got backups at coach.
Yeah.
I don't know, mate. Sincere McCormick.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Who? What
do you mean?
And the Raiders are just done.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about the Raiders anymore. They're a very boring team to me. Broncos flying.
Do we have any other segments after this?
No, we can do one if you want.
No, sorry. It's been a long episode.
Well, that depends on whether we cut that first bit or not. That was 20 minutes. This may be a very short episode.
Cut your losing argument out.
Oh, God. Gosh. Eagles at Rams. I might heavily edit it and release it as one of the...
Just chuck in a little bit at the end where I stumbled. This is Hawley's full argument.
What did you want us to release here? Oh, the Chronicles, DOS, of the old episodes.
The Chronicles?
Yeah.
They're the ones that never went to air.
I'm still going to painstakingly go through those. Last game, Eagles 37, Rams 20. The Eagles are 9-2, the Rams 5-6. Saquon Barkley, of course, we know, set a career high with a ridiculous 302 scrimmage yards and 2 TDs. 255 yards of those were on the ground, 47 in the air. It's the 9th most scrimmage yards in a game of all time. They've now won 7 in a row, are absolutely flying, and the Rams are back into the scrap for the NFC West. They're on 5 wins. with the 49ers, the other two teams, on 6. So the Eagles, I mean, these guys are a serious contender now. We can't ignore that.
Oh, mate, Saquon playing like that. Obviously, Devonta Smith was out today. I don't know what to say.
AJ Brown looked good.
AJ Brown looked good. Dallas didn't really do a whole heap, but he didn't need to because it was all about Saquon. And Saquon's on track for...
Yes, we did the maths before.
2100. Eric Dickerson.
He's on track for 21:35. The record's 21:03, 21:04.
But that is with an extra. That's a 17th game, I suppose.
Yeah, but that's
still,
I mean,
the
there's
record.
what it is. So if he keeps going at what he's going at the moment, which is about 125 yards per game, he'll beat it by 30.
Yep.
So he needs about 122 a game from here to break the record.
He's on track. I don't know. What do you say about Philly? They just seem to... I think I said at the start of the year that you're just always comfortable about Philly. You just know they'll be there. It's just a matter of when they get to the playoffs, are they going to be that team that can take that next step, or is a KC or someone just going to knock them off again and goodbye Philadelphia? They're always going to be that second best team. Or Baker.
Yes.
I feel like they're just always going to be that second or third best team.
Well, they don't have Matt Patricia on the sideline or Sean Desai anymore on the defensive side of the ball.
You've been holding on to that insult for a while.
Both. Matt Patricia. Come on.
If we didn't need a Patricia dig, he got enough, then he got sacked.
Well, so he should have.
Dust's
He shouldn't have
favourite
got the
subject.
job in the first place. Anyway, the transformation on defense under the Godfather,
Yes.
Vic Fangio. I text you boys the stats of where they were last season on defense to where they are
yes,
currently.
you did.
Last year, when Desai got fired, they were 7th most yards allowed, 2nd most passing yards allowed, 3rd most points against, and the defense was horrible. Every receiver that went up against them felt like they went for 120 and 2. They couldn't stop a thing. This season, coming into prior to this game today, fewest total yards allowed, 2nd fewest passing yards allowed, and 4th fewest points allowed. That's a crazy transformation, considering you've got 2 rookies, Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, who Hawley highlighted during the week. You've got Nakobe Dean, who is starting to play well at linebacker. Zach Bourne, as a free agent at the end of the season, he's on all-pro linebacker.
Out of nowhere.
Sort of play.
He's never played like this in 7 years.
Crazy. Jalen Carter on the interior, who we love. Well, I love the baby
We do
rhino.
love the baby rhino.
Reed Blankenship at safety. Now, what is going to hurt, though, veteran pass rusher, this is a bit sad today, came out just after the game. Brandon Graham, torn triceps, out for the season.
Oh, I thought it was actually something sad. Like
15-year vet.
Yeah, that wasn't as sad as I thought.
Yeah, that's
Well,
just an
he was
injury.
having he had a good game today.
Maybe there was illness in his family or
No.
something
Well,
actually...
that's a good chance he's probably played his last game.
Well, I'm not going to drive home and be upset about it. Like,
Well, I think Eagles fans would be pretty flat. But that's going to put more pressure on Josh Sweat because Bryce
And you
Huff,
reckon I'm the dog, Hawley?
remember Bryce
that's
Huff,
what
who they
accuracy in
signed?
the podcast, that's all.
Sorry, Doss.
No, you're right. I was just trying to finish off.
You finish, please.
No, I was just going to say that's going to put more pressure on Josh Sweat because Bryce Huff, who they signed from the Jets in the off-season, who had really done nothing and is now on IR with a broken wrist.
Didn't he have not a tackle? Like not a single thing in his
early
first 4 weeks or
Yeah,
something?
early in the year.
He literally had not done a thing for a month, and he was
my
playing.
sample
Look,
crew.
it hadn't improved the back end of this season, right? He's not been good for him. He's had 2 sacks on the season, but he's only played 225 snaps as well. Out of like close to 600.
Howie.
So
Win some, lose some, Howie.
And he's got a very high missed tackle percentage too. So not one of Howie Roseman's greatest moves at the moment. We'll see what that looks like next year.
Now he's maybe just lost a little.
No, but the Eagles, humming on defense, and they're just going to roll in now, I think, for the NFC East.